All right, let's talk about AI's real impact on work. You've seen the headlines, you've heard the hype, but what's actually happening on the ground, right now?
I mean, this is the question, isn't it? It's on everybody's mind. And it seems like a simple question, but you know what? The answer is way more complicated than you might think. Luckily for us, we finally have some real-world data to help us sort it all out.
Because we're going to dig into a massive study that looked at 200,000 real, anonymized conversations that people had with Microsoft's Copilot AI. So this isn't some crystal ball prediction. This is a look at what's already happening out there.
And that is our goal today. We're going to cut through all the noise and all the speculation and see what this data tells us about how people are actually using AI in their day-to-day jobs. It gives us this incredible window into the reality of this new tech.
Okay, so let's dive in. Because to understand this, the researchers came up with this really smart framework. They drew a line in the sand, making this crucial distinction between what the person wants to do and what the AI is actually doing to help.
They call them the user goal and the AI action. So the user goal, that's your objective, the real-world thing you're trying to get done. The AI action, on the other hand, is the specific task the AI performs to help you out. And as you're about to see, those two things are often not the same at all.
And this example just illustrates it perfectly. So the user's goal is simple: print a document. But notice, the AI isn't grabbing the file and printing it for them. Its action is to teach, to train the user how to do it themselves. It's acting more like a coach than a replacement.
And this dynamic, it is way more common than you'd think. In a staggering 40% of all the conversations they looked at, the user's goal and what the AI did were totally different activities. This just goes to show you how often AI is being used as this kind of assistant or a teacher, not just a tool that does the task for you.
So you might be thinking, how in the world do you get from thousands of chat logs to a ranked list of jobs? Well, they built this thing they call an AI applicability score, and the process is actually super logical when you break it down.
It was basically a three-step process. First, they just figured out the most common things people were using AI for. Then, they measured how well the AI could actually do those things. And finally, they took those AI capabilities and matched them up against the skills needed for nearly 800 different jobs. Pretty neat.
And what were people doing? Well, the top goals were overwhelmingly about knowledge work. Gathering information, writing and editing stuff, and communicating with other people. And this pattern is really the key to understanding which jobs are being affected the most.
Which, of course, brings us to the main event. Based on that AI applicability score, we can now see a real data-backed list of the jobs that are most and least aligned with what today's AI can actually do.
And I've got to tell you, the results might just have a few surprises in store for you.
Okay, at the very top of the list, interpreters and translators. That makes a lot of sense, right? But then you see historians, passenger attendants, sales reps, and writers. Now, passenger attendants might seem a little odd at first, but when you stop and think about it, a huge part of their job is just providing information and communicating.
And that's the common thread you see. The jobs that are most affected aren't necessarily about coding or super complex math. They're jobs where the main activities are all about gathering, processing, and communicating information, which are exactly the tasks people are already turning to AI for.
And the contrast when you put the most and least affected jobs side by side, wow, it could not be more clear. The highest scoring jobs are all about knowledge and communication. The lowest? They're overwhelmingly jobs that require physical, hands-on labor. I mean, just take a look at the very bottom of the list. From dredge operators to guys laying railroad tracks, these are jobs where today's large language models just don't really have any overlap with what they do all day. It's a really stark reminder that AI's impact, for now, is super uneven. So let's zoom out. What's the big takeaway here? Because it is so tempting to look at that top list and just assume that automation is right around the corner. But the researchers themselves say, hold on a minute. And I absolutely love this quote from the paper because it adds this layer of nuance that's so important. High overlap doesn't automatically mean replacement. Think about ATMs. They automated a key task for bank tellers, but the number of tellers actually went up because they were freed up to focus on building relationships. It's about augmentation, not just automation. So, does education play a role? Yeah, it does, but maybe not as much as you'd think. The data shows that jobs needing a bachelor's degree have a higher average score. But just look at how much those bars overlap. There's a massive range of potential impact across every single education level.
And what about money? The popular idea is that AI is coming for the high-wage knowledge worker jobs first. But this data, it shows almost no connection between how much a job pays and its AI score. The link is incredibly weak. And part of that is because some of the biggest affected categories, like sales and admin support, aren't exactly the highest paid jobs out there.
Which all brings us back to that one huge critical question. Is AI a partner that's going to make us better at our jobs? Or is it a replacement that's going to automate us right out of one?
And the answer, as this data makes so incredibly clear, is not a simple either-or. It's both. For some things, it's an assistant. For others, it's a performer. But what is absolutely certain is that this is just a snapshot. The frontier of what AI can do is moving every single day, and the real question is how we're all going to adapt and evolve right along with it.